What's up peeps, TwoSixNine here, and today's video I'm going to be showing off my status mix set. So this can be used with any weapon and gets about 3 to 5 inflictions of status per hunt. You can try it out with your poison weapons, your sleep weapons, and your paralysis weapons and your blast weapons, whatever status, it works. So let's get into it. So let's go through all the skills that we have on here. One of the most essential skills to this set is the Zora Magdaros Mastery. This gives us basically more status effect damage when we're landing critical hits. This kind of dictates the rest of the set and basically means that we're critting as much as possible or want to crit as much as possible. So we're going to spec towards a high affinity set. With using this set, I get 3 to 5 inflictions of status by myself when I'm hunting in multiplayer in a team. Without this set and I'm hunting in a multiplayer team, I normally get like 1 to 3 inflictions of status, so it's definitely worth it, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on it. Plus the armor set looks really cool anyway, especially for the female set. I'm not too sure about the male set, but I think the male set makes you look like the dude from Dark Souls or Demon Souls or whatever, but I think it looks cool anyway, so people are sleeping on it. Definitely try this set out anyway, guys. It definitely is worth it. So that kind of leads me on to the next skill that we get from the set, which is attack boost. So this is kind of like a staple for most sets. This gets us up to the threshold if you have attack boost level 5 of adding 5% affinity. You can go to 4, it's up to your discretion. You can swap that out for some other skill if you find that essential, but yeah, attack boost level 5, just because I had a spare slot in there, I slotted it up to level 5. Then we go on to our paralysis attack. If you're speccing towards a status set and then you don't have the kind of infliction of status bonus on there, then you're doing it all wrong basically. Definitely spec towards making sure that you're increasing that status infliction as much as possible. With this, I've gone up to level 3 on paralysis attack, but you can, if you have a sleep weapon, swap that out for a sleep weapon and definitely use that set with this with sleep attack as well, up to level 3. Lastly, because a lot of these weapons that have status elements, the Monster Hunter developers love hiding them behind a locked door, so we've had to issue free element and enable free element on this set. It's up to 100%. It's kind of weird if you ever have a set with only like 66% and you're specking towards doing a status or an elemental set. Definitely always spec up to level 3 so you can maximizing the elemental damage or the status damage on that weapon. Then we have weakness exploit, which is again another staple of a lot of sets just because it's such a DPS and focus skill and adds 50% affinity. 50% affinity when hitting weak spots, so that means that when you're hitting like a weak spot, you're going to be hitting those crits a lot more, inflicting a lot more status effect. So definitely drop this on any builds that feature Zora Magdaros Mastery or even crit element or in general. This is just a general rule to follow. And then the last few skills that we actually have are handicraft, just keeping that sharpness up. This actually gets this sword, which is a Tower of Paralysis sword, which drops from Colv up to white sharpness. And then lastly, we have Fortify for those times that you're scrubbing and you just want to come back harder and like, I don't know, like Goku out of Dragon Ball Z. I was about to say Google out of Dragon Ball Z, but yeah, Goku out of Dragon Ball Z, come back from the death even harder, rocking more skills, Super Saiyan 2 Ascended. So I'm going to tell you how I achieve this, and we're going to go through all the parts on my set. So we have the Zora headpiece beta, which gives us, what does it give us? What does it give us? It gives us 1 piece of handicraft, and we've got 1 level 1 slot in there. Then we have the Rathalos male beta with 2 weakness exploit. I use this in a lot of my sets because it features the crit element set. We don't unlock that at the moment on this, but it's a good piece because it's got 2 pieces of weakness exploit, and if we're wearing a Zora Magdaros head, we can't wear the dragon eye patch, which is just an insane armor piece in the set, in the game. Anyway, then the Zora Magdaros is a good set because it comes with a free element. It's almost like as if they knew that they locked a lot of the status stuff behind free element. So this arms or the gauntlets come with 3 elements stacked in and 1 level 1 slot. This gives us 2 pieces in the Zora Magdaros Mastery. Then we have the Zora Magdaros Spine, Zora Spine Beta, which comes with Fortify. I know it's a dead skill, would have preferred a better skill on there. This is basically like you're prepping to die, which is not great, but it's a skill that comes with there, and the other pieces had basically stuff that was more orientated towards blast. So I was like, might as well use this piece on the set anyway. If I do die, then I can come back harder and hit in like a boss. It also comes with a level 2 slot, which is great. And this gives us our final piece of the Zora Magdaros Mastery. So we're hitting that that set piece bonus on that one. And then we have everybody's favorite fashion piece set, looking like #1 clubber EU, the Kirin leg guards beta. This gives us 2 points in 3 element. Obviously you can swap that out maybe for the charm and spec it differently based on your legs, but I found this is one of the easiest ways to get a high status infliction set. Most people can build this set. Zora Magdaros is encountered early in the game, and you can farm him quite easily. Kirin, you can farm any high rank Kirin, so it doesn't need to be a tempered Kirin, so you shouldn't have too many issues with that. And then you've got your attack charm as well. The sword that I'm using, as I said earlier, is the Tower of Sword Paralysis, which I've got up to nearly I think it's 400 attack, 400 paralysis infliction on the actual status effects of the sword, which is great. And this has got white sharpness on it as well, a large bar of white sharpness, and we get that plus additional 5% affinity just simply because we've got the attack up to level 4, level 5. Also with that, I also take the Apothecary Mantle just so I can get those additional inflictions of status quite easily. I would recommend eating for Specialists as well. So Specialist is the food skill that gives you additional status damage on attacks, similar to the Zora Magdaros stuff, but for all your attacks. And Affinity Booster, so that when you what I do personally is drop the Affinity Booster and the Apothecary Mantle, and then try and get those additional status effects in, and it all cycle through as quickly as possible. Going through all of the gem slots, we're not going to be worrying about the weapon because the weapon slot's always going to swap out, and you can change the slot on the weapon to your discretion, through to a handicraft gem in there just to get additional white sharpness. You can see it gives you a giant block of white sharpness on the sword, so that's why we have it on there. But on the headpiece, we have a paralyzer gem. We got 3 of those, one on the chest piece, one on the arms, and one on the headpiece. Then on the spine, we have a tenderizer jewel. These ones are quite easy to get if you're struggling trying to get tenderizer jewels or anything for weakness exploit, or even your quick push gems. What I suggest that you do is fight a lot of the temper tier 2 monsters. So these are things like Azura, Rathalos. You can go through the list and you can find those out on somewhere. There's a list of them online. Fight the temper 2s. This is where I've seen a lot of them drop. I've found I've got so many of these critical jewels and tenderizer jewels. You can see here I've got about 16 of these jewels. Any of those jewels, definitely fight the temper 2s. And then we have 2 attack gems. You can swap out the additional attack gem for whatever you want. Like I said, we were on 5. I just had an additional attack gem, so I've thrown this in there. You don't need to do this. What you need is 1 attack gem, and you're given an attack gem during the story campaign, so everyone should have one. Hopefully you haven't melded it like a dummy, but it should be okay. You should have an attack gem. You can swap this out for something else if you want to, anything else that you want to. Anyway guys, that was a quick run through of this set. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, I really love using this set on hunts. Like, it is quickly become my, if I'm having a hard time or if the team is having a hard time, bring out a spec set towards a status set and just bosh through a monster like this. If it's a Devil Joe, throw on the sleep dual blades, bosh through the monster. If it's a monster that's moving around too quickly, then just bosh on the paralysis stuff and destroy it. It's a lovely set. If I always said I get 3 to 5 when working by myself in a team and multiplayer, you can get well more than that if you have 2 people using this setup as well. definitely try it out, guys. Can't recommend it enough. Anyway, guys, peace out. See you later. Love you all. Bye.